Aleph, we begin by the first Mishnah towards the top of the Amud. Zog the Mishnah, Mi shahayu loy shnei tinoikis. A person has two babies to make a bris. So for example, he has twins. But the twins were born a bit apart from each other. So the bris of these twins is not going to be on the same day. Echad lomul achara Shabbos. So one of the babies, the bris is going to be after Shabbos, on Sunday. Ve'echad lamul b'Shabbos, and another baby, the bris has to be on Shabbos itself. V'shachach, and there was a mistake that happened. Umal es shel achara Shabbos b'Shabbos. The wrong baby was brought in when they said kvater, and the baby from Sunday, the bris was done on Shabbos. What's the halacha? So now he made a bris on Shabbos for the baby that wasn't yet the 8th day. Chayev.
Twins that were born low.
Yeah, exactly, for such a kind of example. So they were born a few hours apart. So the wrong baby, the bris was made for the wrong baby on Shabbos. So in such a case, Chayev, he's going to be Chayev for doing a malacha on Shabbos b'sheigig, so he's Chayev a korban chatas. So now, the chiddush of this Mishnah is, the whole basis of this Mishnah, as Rashi brings here, and as we'll see in the Hemshech of the Gemara, is based on a concept called Ta b'dvar mitzvah. A person that's doing an Aveda b'sheigig, a malacha b'sheigig in Shabbos, when he was trying to do a mitzvah. As we'll see in the Gemara, there's a big machlokes about this, whether you chayiv a korban chatos in a case when the chatos, or the Aveda that you were doing, the malacha you were doing, was while you were trying to do a mitzvah. So what the Mishnah over here in the Reisha is saying is that because in this case, when he did the bris for the baby that should have been on Sunday, and he did the bris on Shabbos, it wasn't a mitzvah at all. It was the 7th day. So if it's the 7th day, it's not a mitzvah yet. So therefore, he wasn't tayyib b'dvar mitzvah. There was no mitzvah here. So therefore, he's chayav a korban chatos. Now the Mishnah says another case, in the opposite example, echad lamul be'erev Shabbos. One baby was born on Friday. Ve'echad lamul b'Shabbos. Another baby was born on Shabbos. V'shachach, and again a mistake happened. Umal es shel erev Shabbos b'Shabbos. The baby from Friday, the bris was done on Shabbos. So now the baby from Friday, the Shabbos is the 9th day. So when he makes the bris on Shabbos, he's doing a mitzvah with this bris. It's taka bris shaloi b'zmano. It's on the 9th day, so therefore the bris of the 9th day is not doiche Shabbos, but it's already the 9th day, so it's a mitzvah. Rabbi Eliezer says it doesn't matter. Mechayev chatos. He's still chayev a chatos. This is part of the halacha of a person that's chayev a chatos b'sheigig. The fact that he was doing a mitzvah does not take away from the chayev chatos. Rabbi Yeshua paiter. Rabbi Yeshua says that he's pater because this is a person that was toyeh b'dvar mitzvah. He was trying to do a mitzvah, and not only trying, he's actually doing a mitzvah. He's doing a mitzvah when he makes the bris for this baby on the 9th day, and therefore Hagam, it's not Doiche Shabbos because it's the 9th day, so but he's not Chayav Achatos because it's a Toyeh B'dvar Mitzvah, and in such a case you're not Chayav Achatos.
In the first case, he has to redo the bris.
Chayre, yes, correct. Zok the Gemara, Rav Hone Masni Chayev. Rav Hone learns the Mishnah, the Girsa in the Mishnah, the way we have it, that in the Reisha it says Chayev. And we're talking about a case where the person made the bris for the baby of Sunday on Shabbos. Rav Yehuda Masni Potter. Rav Yehuda learned in the Reisha of the Mishnah Potter, and he learns the case of the Reisha of the Mishnah different than where we have it in the Mishnah. And he's talking about a case where the baby of Erev Shabbos was done on Shabbos itself. The Gemara is going to bring all the details now. So let's see it in the Gemara and the Hemshech. So Rav Huna Masni Chayev. Rav Huna learns the way we have it over here in this Mishnah that he's Chayev, the Reisha. What's the case? So the Tanya, we see it spelled out in the Braise. Learned in the Braise, Omer Rab Shimon ben Elazar, Loinech Luko, Rab Elazar, Rab Yeshua, Al Misha Hoyoloi based Tanoikis. The machlokes between Rab Eliezer and Rab Yeshua regarding this subject is not in the case when you have two babies. Echad Lamol b'Shabbos. One of them, the bris is supposed to be on Shabbos. Ve'echad Lamol achara Shabbos. And the second baby, the bris is on Sunday. And then the person made the bris of the Sunday baby on Shabbos. In that case, there's no machlokes. Shehu chayiv, he's definitely chayiv because you made the bris for the baby that the time of the mitzvah did not come yet. You were trying to do a mitzvah, but you didn't do a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah, so therefore you chayiv a korban chatas for that. There's no machlokes. When is the machlokes? Like we had it in the Mishnah, there are two babies, and one, the bris is supposed to be Friday, and one is supposed to be Shabbos. And the baby from Friday, you made the bris on Shabbos, so it's the 9th day from the birth. So therefore, this is a mitzvah you're doing right now. Rebbe Eliezer says it doesn't matter. It's still a bris that should not have been done on Shabbos, because it's not a bris bismano, so therefore you chayav chatas. But Rabbi Yeshua paiter. Rabbi Yeshua says you're doing an aveda b'sheigig, but you're doing a mitzvah right now as well, so therefore you pater. So this is the mamish the pshat that we had in the Mishnah, and this is the way Rav Huna learned our Mishnah. Now the continuation of the bris brings the source of their machlokes. Both Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua regarding their machlokes, if you do an aveda b'sheigig and you're doing a mitzvah, the question is, should you be chayav a potter? They learn it out from avedas kechavim. As Rashi brings over here, one of the places in the Torah where it talks about karban chatos is by avedas zara in Parshas Shlach, and there it says Torah achas yeh lachem. So from that we learn out that we compare every karban chatos, every chiyuv of a karban chatos to avedas zara. So Rabbi Eliezer Sava Kavedas Kechavim, this case could be compared to the Chiyav Chatas of a person served Avedas Zara. Ma Avedas Kechavim Omer Achmanu Lo Yisavid. The Torah says not to serve Avedas Zara. And V'chi Avid, if you do it, if you serve Avedas Zara, Mechayev, Yechayev a Karban Chatas, so Hachanami Lo Yishna. This case is no different. This is a bris that the Torah says it's not Deiche Shabbos. It's a bris Shaloi Bismana. The Torah said not to do it, and you went ahead b'sheigig and you did it, so Yechayev a Chatas. That's the qualification for chatas. The fact that the mitzvah was the cause of why you did it, the fact that you were doing a mitzvah now, doesn't change the fact that the Torah says it's not Deiche Shabbos. So you chayav a chatas. But Rabbi Yeshua says, no, it's not compared to the case of Avodah Zarah. Hasam the lav mitzvah. In the case of Avodah Zarah, he's doing an action that's not a mitzvah. The Torah says not to serve Avodah Zarah, and it's not a mitzvah, and he does this action, then he's chayav chatas. But over here, hacha mitzvah. Here, because the reason he's doing this act is because the Torah told him to do it, so the mitzvah is contributing to this action, that's not doimet to Avodah Zarah. So in such a case, there's no chayav chatas. That's what we learn out from the dimyan to chatas. If there's a mitzvah that's contributing to the fact that I'm doing this, it's not chayav chatas. That's the bris that Rav Huna quoted to explain the pshat in our Mishnah. Rav Yehuda Masni Potter, Rav Yehuda learned pshat in our Mishnah differently, and he learned in the reisha of our Mishnah that everybody holds Potter. And he changes the case of the reisha of the Mishnah, and he has another brisa where he quotes the pshat of the Mishnah differently. The Tanyas, on another brisa we learned, Omer Rab Meir said, Loi nechlaku Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. There is no machlekes between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Al mi shahayu loi beis tenaikis, in a case of two babies, echad lamo be'erev Shabbos, one baby is from Friday, echad lamo be'Shabbos, and one baby is from Shabbos, and v'shachach umal leshal erev Shabbos b'Shabbos, and he made the bris from the baby of Friday on Shabbos. Nobody argues about that. Shehu potter, he'll definitely be potter. So this is the case that in our Mishnah and in the previous brisa, it said that it was a machlekes, whether toyeh b'dvar mitzvah is chayav karban chatas. But in this brisa it says, in a case where the baby of Friday, you made the bris on Shabbos and you're actually doing a mitzvah right now, everybody agrees because you're doing a mitzvah, there's not going to be a chiyav chatas. It's not daimet to avodah zarah. Alma nechlaku. In what case is the machlekes? On the case that was brought in the reisha of our Mishnah. On that's really the case that's supposed to be in the seifa of the Mishnah. That's where the machlekes was. There were two babies. One of them, the bris was supposed to be on Sunday. And the other one, the bris is supposed to be on Shabbos. You made the bris of the baby from Sunday on Shabbos before the Zman mitzvah. You're not even doing a mitzvah now. Rebbe Eliezer says Yechayev Chatos because it's not yet the Zman mitzvah. Rabbi Eliezer agrees if you would be doing a mitzvah, you'd be potter from chatas, but over here it's not yet a mitzvah. But Rabbi Yeshua potter, and Rabbi Yeshua says even in this case you're still going to be potter. And the brisa goes on to explain the basis of their machlekes. They both learn it out from the case of avodah zarah. Rabbi Eliezer Sovar, Rabbi Eliezer says, Ka Avodas Kechavim, I compare it to the case of Avodah Zarah. Ma Avodas Kechavim Omer Achmana Lo Yisaved. Over there, the Torah says that there's something you're not allowed to do. V'chi Ovid, and if you do it, Mechayev, you'll be Chayev Akar Mechatos, Hachanami over here as well. Lo Yishno, there's no difference. In this case, this is something you're not allowed to do. He made a bris of the baby that the Zman HaMitzvah didn't come yet, and he made a bris on Shabbos. So, it's not allowed to be Deiche Shabbos, and it's B'sheigig, so he's Chayev Achatas. There's no difference. Rabbi Yeshua disagrees, and Rabbi Yeshua says, Hasan loy torid mitzvah. In the case of a person that served Avodah Zarah b'sheigig, he's not occupied, he's not even trying to do a mitzvah. Hacha torid mitzvah. Over here, he was at least trying to do a mitzvah. True, he didn't end up doing a mitzvah, but what happened over here? Why did he make the bris of the Sunday baby on Shabbos? He thought this is the baby of Shabbos. He was trying to make the bris of the baby of Shabbos, so he's taught it in the mitzvah of the baby of Shabbos. So hayais, it's the mitzvah. He actually has a mitzvah today. Right now, he actually has a mitzvah to make the bris of the baby of Shabbos. So since he went to do this action because he thought he's being the kaim, his mitzvah that he actually has today with this baby of Shabbos, so therefore he's taught it in a mitzvah. The tirde, again?
It's actually a mitzvah?
No, he didn't bepoil fulfill a mitzvah. But the tirde, it's not only in his mind. It's more than just his mind. The tirde, he went to do the mitzvah that actually lies upon him right now. He has another baby that today the mitzvah has to be done. That's what the action that he went to, but then the baby got switched. And the bepoil, he didn't make the bris with the right baby. But the tirde of the mitzvah was for the baby that he is chayiv right now for Shabbos. So therefore, he's pater from a korban chatas. That's the chiluk between these two cases. So the previous bris says, if you actually did a mitzvah, then you pater from the chatas. This bris is being machadish that according to Rabbi Yeshua, the tirda of the mitzvah, if you have a chiyuv to do the mitzvah today, and you were trying to do that mitzvah, that's enough to pater you from the chatas. Sagt the Gemara weiter. Now there's a third version here, or a third statement that was said about this machlokes. Tani Rab Chia learned, Oy mehoy Rab Meir. Rab Meir said, Loy nechleku Rab Elazar v'Rab Yeshua. There's no machlokes between Rab Eliezer and Rab Yeshua. Al misha hoy loy beis tinoikes. If there are two babies, echad lamol be'erev Shabbos, one baby is from Friday, ve'echad lamol b'Shabbos, and another baby is from Shabbos. V'shachach umal es shel erev Shabbos b'Shabbos, and you made the bris from the baby of erev Shabbos on Shabbos shehu chayiv. Everybody will agree that you're chayiv. So you look at the first part of this statement here of this braise. It seems like what he's saying is, although you're actually doing a mitzvah now, you're not just trying to do a mitzvah. You're making the bris of the baby of Friday on Shabbos, and you're actually doing a mitzvah. So everybody agrees that you'd still be chayiv in a korban chatas. Okay, but the Gemara is soon going to clarify the pshat in this statement. Alman nechleku, where, in what cases there an argument? Almi shahayelei beis tinoikes, the two babies here, echad lamal achar Shabbos, one of them the bris is supposed to be after Shabbos. Ve'echad lamal b'Shabbos, and one of them the bris is supposed to be on Shabbos itself. V'shachach umal shel achar Shabbos b'Shabbos, he made the bris of the baby of Sunday on Shabbos. Reb Eliezer mechayev chatos. Reb Eliezer says you chayev chatos because you're not actually doing a mitzvah right now. You're trying to do a mitzvah, but it's a baby from Sunday, so you're not actually doing a mitzvah, so therefore you'll be chayiv chatos. Rabbi Yeshua paiter, and Rabbi Yeshua says because you were trying to do a mitzvah, even though you didn't actually do a mitzvah, because this bris is from a baby that this man didn't arrive yet, you're going to be pater. So now the Gemara asks an obvious question here, that the beginning of this braise and the ending of this braise is contradicting each other, as the Gemara spells out here. Hashte Rabbi Yeshua seife. Now, Rabbi Yeshua said in the seife of this braise, the loy ka'avid mitzvah, even in a case where he didn't actually do a mitzvah, he was just trying to do a mitzvah, and he made the bris of the Sunday baby on Shabbos. Paiter, so in that case he's going to be pater just because he was trying to do a mitzvah. Reisha, in the reisha of this braisa, the ka'avid mitzvah, he made the bris from the Friday baby on Shabbos, so he's doing a mitzvah. Mechayiv, in such a case, Rabbi Yeshua would say that he would be chayiv. Over here he's actually doing a mitzvah, for sure he should be pater. So the Gemara answers, Omri de Bei Rabbi Yanai. So in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yani they explained, Reisha, you know what the Reisha is speaking about? Kagon shekodam umol shal Shabbos be'erev Shabbos. He actually already did the bris of the baby that was supposed to be done on Shabbos. He made that bris on Friday. So the confusion didn't start on Shabbos. The mistake began on Friday. When he came to do the bris on Friday, so the baby that was the bris was meant to be tomorrow on Shabbos, he made that bris on Friday. So the Shabbos baby was made already, the bris was made on Friday. And now when it comes to Shabbos, now he's making the bris for the Friday baby. So now, today, right now on Shabbos, does this person have any chiyuv, he's allowed to make any bris today? No, he's not allowed to make any bris today. The Shabbos baby, the arla he cut off already. He already cut off the arla before. And that's not going to be deicha Shabbos to do it today. The Friday baby is not deicha Shabbos either. So right now, he has no mitzvah today to make a bris for neither baby. So in such a case, the loy nitna Shabbos lidachis. So you can't be deicha Shabbos at all. So therefore, in the Reisha, where the confusion already began on Friday, he made the Shabbos bris on Friday, and now he wants to make the Friday bris on Shabbos. So today he has no mitzvah at all, no chiyuv to do the bris on Shabbos. So you can't say that this person was being oisik b'dvar mitzvah. He's not doing any mitzvah. Not only is he not being oisik b'dvar mitzvah, you can't even say that he has a tirdova mitzvah. There is no tirdova mitzvah. He has no chiyuv of any mitzvah today. Elamite's a mistake that he made in his mind, but there is no actual chiyuv that he has today. In such a case, Rabbi Yeshua would be meider that he's going to be potter. Seifa, however, in the Seifa, in the bris, where he made, he's going to be chayav chatos, correct, because he has no tird of a mitzvah at all. Seifa, in the Seifa of the bris, nitna Shabbos lidachis. Over there, we're talking about a case where there's actually a Shabbos baby that the bris has to be done today. And a Chanami, he confused it. He made a Sunday bris today instead of the Shabbos bris today, but he does have that tird of the mitzvah that he's supposed to do today. So over there, Rabbi Yeshua says that it's he's going to be potter from the korban chatas. Oh, Malay Ravashi, Rav Kahana, Ravashi pushes further this point and he asks the question, Reisha Nami, even in the Reisha, the way we just explained this Braisa here. So again, what was the case? The Shabbos baby, the bris was already done on Friday. And now he wants to do the bris of the Friday baby on Shabbos. So right now he has no chiyuv of a bris today. There's nothing that can be doicha Shabbos. But still, says Ravashi, Reisha Nami, nitna Shabbos lidacha is legabe tinoikis da alma. Still, bris is something legabe other babies that it could be doicha Shabbos. If the bris would be on Shabbos, if it's a baby that's born and the 8th day is on Shabbos, Shabbos is a day that you could be doicha bris for it. What does the Gemara really mean to say? What the Gemara is saying is, Ena Chanami, there's no actual mitzvahs doing, and there's also no tir to the mitzvah because this individual has no chiyuv. But in his mind, he's making that mistake. But Payal, in his mind, he's thinking, I do have a chiyuv. So hayais, this concept of a bris being deicha Shabbos exists in the world, and that's the mistake that this person is making. So sof you could argue that the chiyuv of the mitzvah is what's contributing to the action that he's doing. He's not stam doing a chil Shabbos for no reason, like by Avodah Zarah, when a person serves Avodah Zarah, and there's no other motivating factor for this Avodah Zarah. Here, the concept of bris that exists in the world, which is deicha Shabbos b'chlal, is the mistake that this person is making. So shouldn't that be enough of a reason to distinguish from this case and Avodah Zarah? And for the Gemara, no, that's already too far. Lahai gavremiyah lo yisyohev. For this person right now, he has no chiyuv. The fact that he's making the mistake in his mind, and b'chlal there's this concept that a bris is deicha Shabbos, and he thinks that's the case today, that's not negeya. But poil, for this person, he's not doing a mitzvah. He has no chiyuv of a mitzvah today. So the mistake that he's making in his mind is no different than any other shaygig. When a person makes a mistake and he forgets it's Shabbos today, he forgets that this malacha is also, it's no different than any other shaygig. It's all a mistake in his mind. But papayel, there is no chiyuv for this person today, and therefore it's going to be chayav and a korban chatas. Yeah. Zok the Mishnah. Katan, Nimal, L'shmaina, the time to make the bris for a baby is on the 8th day. L'tisha, sometimes on the 9th day. Ula asara, sometimes on the 10th day. Ula achadasa, the 11th day. Ula yud beis, on the 12th day. Lo pachis v'lo yoser. Never less than the 8th day, and not more than the 12th day. Obviously, we're talking about a case where the baby is healthy and you don't have to push the bris off because of health reasons, but still, there's these different scenarios where the bris could be anywhere between the 8th and the 12th day. How is this possible? Kedarkoi, in a regular case where the baby is born on any weekday, l'shmeina, so the bris is done on the 8th day. Or even if the baby is born on Shabbos, but it's born on the regular time in the middle of the day, so you make the bris on Shabbos. However, if the baby is born, let's say Friday night, so now you don't know if this baby was really a Friday baby or it's on Shabbos. So you make the bris not on the following Shabbos, you make the bris the next Sunday. So you push off the bris a day because you're not sure if the baby was born on Shabbos or not. So now you have to make the bris on Sunday, so that's going to be on the 9th day.
It's only Shabbos? It's come on a regular weekday also?
Okay, correct, you're right. I jumped ahead to the next case of the Gemara. It's not only on Shabbos, correct. Any time the bris, the baby that is, was born on Ben Hashmashis, so you always have to push it off to the following day. And that's the case, the Gemara considers it to be the 9th day. If you're counting the day of before that the baby was born, so you're pushing it off to the 9th day. Yeah, the next case is Ben Hashmashis of Shabbos. Ben Hashmashis shel Erev Shabbos is the baby was born on Ben Hashmashis of Friday night, so then Nimula Sara, you can't do the bris not on Friday because maybe it's too early, maybe it's the 7th day. You can't do the bris on Shabbos because you don't know if it's Deiche Shabbos or not. It's only if it's a Vadai Shabbos, it's Deiche, but if it's a Safek, it's not. We learned this before already, so you have to push it off to Sunday. So the bris is on the 10th day. Yontif la'achar ha-Shabbos, if there's one day of Yontif after Shabbos, so then nimalachad asar. It's a bris shaloi bizmana, you can't make the bris not on Shabbos, not on Yontif, so you have to push it off to the 11th day. Beis Yomim shel Rosh Hashanah, if you have Shabbos and then following Shabbos 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, so now you have to push off the bris for all of those days. So Nimel l'shnei masa, the bris is going to be following Rosh Hashanah, so the bris is going to be on the 12th day. Those are the scenarios of the bris being either on the 8th day all the way to the 12th day.
Also that Rosh Hashanah was Thursday or Friday.
Okay, and then you would have the same scenario. Okay, and the Chanami, either before or after, but it comes the same idea. Very good. Same thing, it's not Teiche Shabbos. Sagt the Mishnah weiter. So this is all talking about a baby that's healthy. Kata nachayle, a baby that's not well. You can't make the bris until the baby is healthy. Sagt the Gemara Amashmuel. A baby has a fever, and now the fever leaves the baby. So could you make the bris immediately after the fever is gone? The answer is no. Kol Zayin, you have to wait 7 days, lahavroisai, till he should remain without fever, that he should be healthy, and only then do you make the bris. So that's why you always find when you delay a bris, the bris is always delayed, and like it says in a case where it had a fever, you always have to wait a week. This is brought in Shulchan Aruch. You have to wait for a week in order to be able to make the bris. The question was asked about this. Do you have to have 7 full days of a 24-hour period? If the baby developed a fever at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to have to wait until the 7th day, until 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Or when you come into the beginning of the 7th day, that's enough. Dr. Gemara, Toshima, the Tani Luda said, Yoim Avra Osai ki Yoim Hivoldai. The day that the baby is born, and you wait from that day 8 days, so similar from the day that the baby gets healthy again, you have to wait 7 days from that day. So my love, don't you think, what did he mean when he compared the two? Ma yoimi voldoi, just like from the day that the baby is born, loibino meisleis, you don't have to wait full 24-hour periods of 8 days, right? There's the klal of miktsas hayoim kakuloi. The baby is born right a minute before Shkia, you make the bris for the baby on the 8th day, right away early in the morning. So af yoim avrasai, the same thing is also when a baby that gets healthy, loibino meisleis, you don't need 7 full days, 7 24-hour periods. And for the Gemara, not necessarily did Luda mean the comparison to that extent. Adif Yom Avrasai mi Yom Yivolda. We are comparing it that you have to wait 7 days just like you have to wait 8 days, but still over here the waiting period has something that is stronger, is more than when the baby is born. The Ilu Yom Yivolda, when the baby is born, lay be in a mace. It's not necessary to wait full 8 days, 24-hour periods. Vilu Yom Avrasai, but the baby that became healthy, that the fever went away, you do have to wait 7 days, 24-hour periods from the time that the fever left the baby in order to be able to make the bris.
So what does Yom Havrasa compare to Yom Hivolda?
The waiting, just the Indian of waiting, that you have to wait 7 days and you have to wait 8 days. He's just telling you the idea of waiting. You would have thought that when the baby gets well, you can make the baby bris immediately. Sagt the Mishnah, Eilu hein tzitzin hama'akvin asamila. These are the leftovers of our law. We learned before in the Gemara there are certain cases when the male did the bris and there's leftovers from the arla. So on Shabbos there are some cases you're allowed to go back to complete the bris. Some cases you're not allowed to go back to complete the bris. So the Mishnah says that tzitzin ma'akvin, those shreds, leftovers from the arla, that is ma'akiv, that the bris is not done yet. What is that? Basar ha'choife es roiva atara. If there's basar, there's flesh from the arla that covers most of the atara, the tip of the aver where the bris is made, that's supposed to be completely uncovered. If roiv of it is still covered, so that's ma'akiv the bris, and you have to go back to complete the bris, and you can complete it even on Shabbos. And if the person still has that part of the arla left, so then he's a oral. He's not mahal. The bris is not done b'chlal, and therefore he can't eat truma. One of the requirements to be able to eat truma is to have a bris milah. If you have a baby that the arla there's a lot of basar, it's very fleshy. So even if after you take off the arla, but still the basar of the arla folds over in a way that it looks like that there's no bris. So you have to fix that and cut off more from the basar of the arla so that it shouldn't appear like there was no bris done. Sagt the Mishnah weiter, mal v'loi para esamila, a person that makes a bris, but he does not do the priya. So besides the mila, which is cutting off the actual arla, there's another layer that you have to tear off and fold back in order to completely uncover the tip of the aver. So if you made the bris without doing the priya, without uncovering the tip of the aver, ki'ilu loy mal. It's as if the mila was not done. The mila has to be together with the priya to uncover the atara, the tip of the aver. Not mamish the tip, it's the atara, the top part of the aver. Zakt the Gemara, Amar Rabba Vinne, Amar Rabba Yirmiyeh, Bar Abba, Amar Rav. So what did it say in the Mishnah? What are tzitzin ma'akvin? So the lashon of the Mishnah was basar ha'choife es roiva atara. That if roiv of the atara is covered, so then it's not a bris. So the Gemara clarifies this. Basar ha'choife es roiv goiva shel atara. The Mishnah here doesn't only mean if the full circumference of the atara is still covered, but it also means that if just in one area there's a piece of arla that covers most of the height of the atara, even if most of the circumference of the atara is uncovered, if just in one area most of the height of the atara is covered, that's still considered to be tzitzin ma'akvin, and the bris is not a good bris. Shmuel said, cotton hamasurval bebasar. If you have a cotton that has a baby that has like a very thick coat of basar that covers over the bris. So how do we determine if the bris is good enough that you don't have to cut off more or not? So we have to see as follows. As long as the aver, when it's erect, when it's hard, v'nira mahal, and then the atara is uncovered and you see that the bris is good, then ain't it tzarech lamel. You don't have to do any more, you don't have to cut off any more for the bris. But v'mlav, if even when the aver is kosher, still there's a chelik of the atara that's covered, tzarech lamel. So then you have to cut off more from the bris. This is one version of what Shmuel said. We must need to tana. In the bris, we learned of this the same halacha, but in a different version. Abshim Gamliel said, "Cotton amasurval bebasa," a baby that has a very thick coat of basar in that area. Rayin oisai, so we have to look kol's mansha miskasha when the aver is hard. The einenira mol, and then it appears not to be mol. Tzarech l'maylai. So then you have to make the bris again. Ve'im lav, and if not, ein tzarech lamoyle. Then you don't have to make the bris again. So both what Shmuel said and what Rab Shimon Gamliel said seems to be the exact same thing. The only difference is Shmuel was talking about the case of ein tzarech lamol, that if it's nira mahol, so then you don't have to make the bris again. And Rab Shimon Gamliel was saying that if it's ein nira mahol, then you do have to make the bris again. They're saying the two opposite sides of the same coin. But the Gemara says there's a difference in the way they presented this din. My beinayu, what's the difference between the way Shmuel said the din and the way Rab Shimon Gamliel presented the din? The difference would be in a case of nire ve'einoi nire, when the atara of the aver is exposed, but it's not fully exposed. There is still a chelik that's not exposed. So that's the nafkimin over here. According to Shmuel, what does Shmuel say? The lashon of Shmuel was that if it's einoi nire mohol, so then you have to make the bris again. So in a case of nire ve'einoi nire, tzarech, you still have to make the bris again, because he says if it's einoi nire, so then it's not good. But according to what it says in the bris, so over there, if it's nire ve'einoi nire, again, only in a case where it's not nire. The lashon of the bris was only if it's completely not exposed, then you have to make the bris again. But if it's nire ve'einoi nire, in such a case, you don't have to make the bris again. That's the nafkamina. Malvaloi para, so it said in the bris, you made a mila and you cut off the arlo, but you did not fold back the other layer in order to expose the aver completely, the atar of the aver completely, so then it's not a bris. Tan rabbanon hamal, when you make the bris, oimer, the person, the moil, what's the bracha that he makes? Asher kedushano b'mitzvaysav v'tzivano ala mila. Avia ben oime, the bracha that the Avia ben makes is Asher k'shana b'mitzvayse v'tzivonu la'achnisai b'brisai shel Avraham Avinu. So there's two different brachas that are made of here. This is a very unusual thing, that for one mitzvah you make two different brachas. L'chayre, if the father is making the mayel, the shliach, to be the one to do the maisa mitzvah, so you have one bracha. The mayel makes the bracha. Why should the Avia ben have to make a separate bracha? And Bechlal, there's a whole discussion here in the Rishayim. Taisus here speaks about it. Rabbeinu Tam, Rabbeinu Shmuel, the Rosh, many Rishayim speak about this. There are two minhagim about this. Some say that the minig is that the Avia ben makes the bracha first, and then the Mayel makes the bracha. But in the version that we have in our Gemara, and Rabbeinu Tam, and the minig that we have today is that the Mayel makes the bracha first, and afterwards the Avia ben makes the bracha. Taisva says the bracha that the Mayel makes is the birchas ha-mitzvah. That's like the regular birchas ha-mitzvah, shekachanu b'mitzvah tzivanu ala mila. The bracha that the father makes is a birchas ha-shvach. That's to thank the Eibishter for giving us this mitzvah, that it's not like a regular birchas ha-mitzvah. The mitzvah of Mila is such a unique, it's such a unique mitzvah, such a special mitzvah that you're being meshabeach the Eibishter, you're giving the Eibishter a separate shvach for giving us the opportunity to do this mitzvah. And therefore Taisa says, usually by a mitzvah, the halacha is that the birchas ha-mitzvah has to be done before the mitzvah, oiver la'siyasan. But over here, because the bracha that the father is making is only a birchas ha-shvach for giving him the opportunity to do this mitzvah, so therefore it can be made even after the bris. That's why the Avia ben can make the bracha afterwards. However, the minig is that the father makes the bracha between the mila and the priya. Right? The Gemara is bringing this here on mal v'loi para. The reason the Gemara is bringing it on mal v'loi para is because to say that without the priya, the bris is not done b'chlal. So the father makes the bracha before the priya, so the mitzvah is still the bracha before the mitzvah is done. Okay, that's the meaning of this bracha. The Rebbe in a few sichos speaks about this bracha ba'arichas gedela, and the Rebbe says you see from this Gemara that when it comes to the bris, there's two different aspects of the bris. There's the mitzvah of bris, which is one of the taryag mitzvahs. It's a mitzvah pratis, like every one of the other taryag mitzvahs. And for that, the Mayel makes the bracha. He's the one that's doing this maisa ha-mitzvah, so he makes the bracha. But then, the bris is a mitzvah klalis, the mitzvah that brings the child into Klal Yisrael. The difference between Yidden and Goyim, like it says in many places, is that a Goy is a Adel and a Yid is a Mahol. This is a general mitzvah that brings the Yid into Klal Yisrael. The Alter Rebbe brings in Shulchan Aruch, when you make the bris, this is the Gemara of the Knisas Nefesh HaKadoshah, or the Aschalas Knisas Nefesh HaKadoshah, in the guf of the child. So this is a very, very general mitzvah. And that bracha is what the Aviyah Ben makes. The Aviyah Ben is the person, he's talking about doing the Maisa mitzvah, but he's the one that brought the baby into the world. He's that link from the baby to Avraham Avinu. He's the one that brings this child into Klal Yisrael by giving birth to him, and by making the bris, he's completing that inyan of bringing this Ben Avraham, Yitzchak, V'Yaakov into the world. So mitzad the inyan HaKlali of what the bris is coming to accomplish, he's making another bracha. And that's taka why the nusach HaBracha that the father makes is lachnisai bebrisa shel Avraham Avinu, because the father is the one that's bringing the child into the world and giving him the bris to bring him into connection to Klal Yisrael. Those are the two brachas that you make by the bris. It's a unique thing. You don't have it by any other mitzvah. The bracha of Shechayanu, by the way, you mentioned Shechayanu. The Rambam says you make a Shechayanu on a bris. But most Rishonim say you don't, and the minig b'payil is we don't make a Shechayanu on a bris, and the reason is because of tzayred the Yanuka. Because there's the pain of the baby, so it's not the time to make the Shechayanu. Sagt die Gemara weiter. The second bracha, I think it says that when there's no father, who does it lie upon to make the bris? There's a bezdin. The chiv is on bezdin to make the bracha. So whoever else is in charge of the bris, and so to speak, the bezdin, so that's the individual that has to make the bris. The legal caretaker, the legal guardian, or whatever you want to call it. Sagt die Gemara weiter, ha'oimdim sham, the people standing there, what do they say? Kisheim shenichnas lebris, kach yikanes leteira, lechuppah, lemaisem tevim. And then the person that you designate to make the bracha, the one that makes the bracha and then gives the name, so what does he say? Asher kiddush yidid mi beten. The Eibush sanctified yidid, the beloved one from the womb. So Rashi says this refers to Yitzchak. Taisa says it refers to Avraham Avinu. Chayik b'she'eray sam. The mitzvah was placed into the she'eray, is the body. The mitzvah that's done in the body of the child. V'tzetzav chosam ba'is bris kodesh. Their descendants, the Eibishter sealed with this bris, with the sign of the bris kodesh. Al kain b'schar zayis, there's a reward for this. Keil chai chalkeinu. Tziva lahatzel, the Eibishter commands to save Yididus Sheirenu, the beloved of the flesh, Mishachas, from Shachas, which is Gehenim. Laman brisa yashasam b'fsarenu, because of the bris that the person makes in his basar. Baruch atah Hashem kairis abris. There are two nuschais, if you look over here in the Hagos on the side of the Gemara, benegeh to the nusach that we have, that the Alter Rebbe has in the Siddur, we say, Tziva lahatzel. Tziva is Lashon Ovar, that the Eibishter commanded in the past. In other words, this is the promise that the Eibishter gave to Avraham Avinu. It says in the Medrash, the famous Medrash, the Eibishter promised Avraham Avinu that anybody that makes a bris, he will not allow him to go into Gehenna. But other Neschais have it, Tzaveh. Tzaveh is Lashon Osid. It's a tefillah that we ask the Eibishter that you should not allow a Yid that has a bris to go into Gehenna. A person that makes a bris for a ger. Aymed, dear the brach is Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher keshanu v'tzosav v'tzivanu ala milah. The mile that makes the bracha, it's the same ma'isa mitzvah, and you make the same bracha. V'hamavarach aymed, the bezdin that makes the bracha, it says the bracha asher keshanu v'tzosav v'tzivanu lamul esagerim ulahatif mehem dam bris. The mitzvah by a ger is to make the bris. And also lahatuf mem dam bris. We learned this before in the Gemara, in a case where the ger already had a bris from before, so the mitzvah consists just of letting some blood. Shel mali dam bris leiniskayim v'shamayim v'oretz. If not the dam bris, the heavens and earth would not exist. Shenemar im loy brisi. If not for the bris, yoimim v'layla chukesh mayim v'oretz leisamti. There would be no nature of heaven and earth. Baruch atah Hashem kairis habris. Hamalas avadim, basically a similar thing when you make the bris for avadim, which is also a form, a level of gerus. Aimer, the male making the bris says, Asher keshanu v'tzosav v'tzivanu ala milah, v'hamavarach aimer. The one that's making the bracha for this eved makes the bracha, Asher keshanu v'tzosav v'tzivanu lamalas avadim v'lahataf mem dam bris, shel mali dam bris chukesh mayim v'aretz leiniskaymu, shenemam loy berisi yoimim v'layla chukesh mayim v'aretz leisamti, baruch atah Hashem kairis habris. Hadron Allah Rabbi Eliezer de Mila.
Why do you make a bracha for a guy? He's not a yid yet. He hasn't gone to mikvah. So why?
No. Lav dafke. What's to say there? In Mila, Tefillah is saying the Mila is done first. But still, if you're making it l'shem geiros, so it's a mitzvah. That's the mitzvah of geiros, that you do the Mila. It's definitely a mitzvah. That's the bracha. Okay, we'll stop over here for today. We'll start a new page.